All right, we want to welcome everyone to another edition of Ask Anthony Live. Remember, if you have a problem you just can't solve, you can always email me at askanthony@firstcoastnews.com. And today I want to talk about a story I've been following for a couple of weeks now. A Marine veteran and her husband emailed me not too long ago about a situation that happened back in November 15th to be exact, in Riverside. Jamie Phillips, this Marine veteran, she was out there in Riverside outside of her home searching for some belongings that had been stolen from her husband's car. She was near the railroad tracks there on College Street. And she called 911 for help because she got into a confrontation with a woman who was there, a woman who she did not know. And when she called 911, she told them she had her dog with her daughter, and she also had a gun on her hip. An officer responded to the situation, and according to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, and as you're about to see in this video that we're going to show you in a little bit, the dog lunged and bit the officer. The officer ended up firing 3 shots at the dog, hitting him. The dog did survive. Now, this Marine veteran says that this is a support animal for her, and she was distraught about the entire situation. And since November, she has been requesting the body camera video from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. And the reason they contacted me, they had a hard time getting that body camera video from the Sheriff's Office. I contacted the Sheriff's Office last week, and they ended up releasing some partial body cam video on Friday afternoon, and she had a chance to watch it. I want you to go ahead and see this video right now, and I do want to let you know that we paused the video after the first shot was fired.
Who has the gun? Don't listen to me very carefully. Listen to me very carefully. Sit down. Sit down right here. Hold your dog. No, no. Baby, stay right there. Keep that baby over there. You sit down. You're going to get shot.
See, the video is paused right there. 3 shots are fired by the officer. Once again, the dog did survive. In fact, in some video we're going to see a little bit later, the dog actually gets up and he sits. He was taken to the vet. He is okay for the most part right now. But Jamie Phillips, who you saw there in the video, one of the other reasons she contacted me, she wanted the full body camera video to be released, and the Sheriff's Office tell us they will be releasing that video to us, but there's currently a backlog. They're going to get that video to us as soon as possible. But according to Jamie Phillips, she asked the officer multiple times if she could tie up her dog. She said she kept saying over and over again, please allow me to secure my dog. Please allow me to do that. And according to her, she says the officer did not allow that to happen. She described him as being aggressive with the situation. And this is what she told me after she had a chance to watch the video on Friday.
There's blatant lies, blatant disrespect to an innocent family that had done nothing wrong but call the cops for help. I listened to everything that man said. We followed every direction that he gave us. The only thing that I had done was ask him multiple times to tie my dog up. You can even see in the video, I had my hands up because I knew that man was going to bring trouble. And in the board meeting, they said that I caused that storm. He caused that storm because he approached us so aggressively and did not allow me to tie my dog up and wanted nothing to do with my weapon. If he would have just allowed me to do that, we would not be sitting here today.
So that was Jamie Phillips' response to watching the video. I spoke with her on Monday about this situation. She wanted to do an interview with her response to what she saw. I want to bring in our crime and safety analyst now, Ken Jefferson. He has decades of law enforcement experience, and I wanted Ken to come in and just kind of give me his expert opinion about what we're seeing in the body cam video and the officer's actions. So, Ken, before we get your analysis, I want to go ahead and show that video of the shooting one more time.
Who has the gun? Don't listen to me very carefully. Listen to me very carefully. Sit down. Sit down right here. Hold your dog. No, no. Baby, stay right there. Keep that baby over there. You sit down. You're going to get shot.
All right, so Ken, you just had a chance to watch that video. I know you had a chance to watch it a little bit earlier as well. From your expert opinion, what are your thoughts about what you're seeing here?
So first, let me just say thank you to Ms. Phillips and her husband for their service to our country as veterans of the United States military. In this situation, and in order to collaborate her story, we'll need to see the entire footage that she says that she was asking numerous times to tie her dog up. So with that being excluded or not included in this particular clip, and the fact that JSO, the Response to Resistance Board, obviously has reviewed the entire video, they made a decision that the officer's actions were justifiable. And what you have to contend with, and officers have to contend with this a lot when there's animals, particularly dogs, the officer will always immediately try to ask the owner of the dog to restrain the dog. That's generally an ask. They don't wait for a person to ask if they can do it. They generally ask it because they know of the dangers of an animal interacting with another person if that animal feels that you're threatening their owner or what have you. So without that collaborative footage that she says that exists, it's hard to make a full assertion, but I'm certain that JSO has watched the entire clip and obviously have not released the entire thing in its entirety as of yet. There's generally not a conclusion until the entire situation has been investigated and evaluated. In this case, the body-worn camera will be your most compelling evidence. Persons can say this, that, or the other, or they can imply certain things, but the camera doesn't lie. The audio and the video can never lie. When you've got an animal such as a German Shepherd, in this case, charging at an officer, and we have seen what dogs can do, what these particular type of dogs can do. They can severely injure an officer if they bite him in the right spot. They can possibly incapacitate him and prevent him from doing his job. So the officer had in this case, had no recourse because the dog had made contact with him and bit him on the leg. He stopped any further bites by discharging his firearm, which immediately stopped the threat of the dog. I understand the position of Ms. Phillips because that's her dog, and she doesn't want any kind of harm to come to him. But in this footage that we see, the dog never sat, as she said she was trying to get him to sit, and she said multiple times, which is kind of contradictory. She said multiple times she kept trying to tell the officer would not allow him to sit. The officer is there because he got a complaint. It's called in police world a signal 0 and 88, which means that there's some type of assault going on with a weapon. He recognizes that she is the one with the weapon. He knows that it's in her left pocket, and he tells her to keep her hands away from that particular weapon for obvious reasons, of course, because anything can happen in seconds where that weapon can be used against the officer. So he's doing all those things. He's making sure that the child is not interacting with what's going on, because what he really wants to do is to get close enough to retrieve the weapon from her to make sure that he is safe and that she is safe and that he can handle the call in a professional manner without anybody getting hurt. But what happens is the dog leaves the owner and she can't control him, and the dog lunges at the officer and bites the officer. So he can't continue to let the dog bite him for obvious reasons. So he stops that threat. And he calls immediately for rescue to come and try to administer first aid to the dog as well as to Ms. Phillips.
And Ken, I want to go ahead now and take a look at what happened after the dog was shot and the interaction there between Officer Jones and Ms. Phillips.
Okay.
That's why I said let me sit him down! Relax, please save him! Please save him! Oh my God!
Yeah, dog bit me on my leg.
I said let me sit him down! He's ex-military, please, or Marine Corps! I said let me sit him down! Please
Go back 341.
No,
Shots
no,
fired
no, no,
by
no,
myself.
no.
Get us one more unit here at this location. I have a dog bite to the left side of my leg. Also start.
You killed my dog. You killed my dog. Oh my God. I need to call my husband.
Don't reach for that gun.
I'm not reaching for my gun. I have a permit for my
You
gun.
control that dog. Don't reach for that gun.
I just lost my dog because someone tried to rob me. I can't believe that. I cannot believe that. I can't believe that just happened.
You stay over there. Control that dog. Do you understand me?
I don't want you. Babe, someone just tried to rob us, so I called the cops. And I tried to sit Milo down, and they approached me, and he got him, and they shot him. They
Hey,
shot
Swanson,
Milo. I'm covered
it's
in
a weapon
blood.
right here.
Please help. They took. I'm shot in the leg. I'm shot in the leg. Shot in the leg. They're here. They're the ones who shot the dog.
Quebec 341 also got a whiskey foxtrot with a gunshot wound to the left leg also, conscious and breathing.
I'm standing here with a gun. She's in the car.
All right, Ken, so we just watched the aftermath there. That's after the dog was shot. Once again, the dog is okay. Now, according to Ms. Phillips, she said that a bullet did, and I believe she said it hit off the ground and hit her in the leg. I think JSO, their conclusion was that x-rays didn't show for sure if it was a bullet or a pebble that ricocheted off the ground and hit her. She says, though, however, it was a bullet that caused it. She still has damage there to her leg. Just kind of looking at the aftermath, how do you think this was handled? What's going through the mind of law enforcement?
So what the officers trying to get control of the situation. The situation is you've got this lady, she's got a gun. The officer knows that she has a gun, so he wants to try to resolve the issue. She's saying that she was calling the police to report a robbery of some sort. And when the officer's trying to maintain control of the situation, the dog gets loose and he bites the officer. The officer stops the threat so the dog won't continue to bite him, because typically an animal not going to bite you and walk away and say, yeah, I got you. He's going to continue to do that in an aggressive manner. So once the officer was bitten, he took the action to stop the threat against him. After that point, he was calling in for the backup, such as rescue, to come and render first aid to Ms. Phillips, because she said that she was shot in the leg. And then, of course, you got animal rescue that's on the way to check out the dog and or transport the dog to where he needs to be transported to. So he's doing everything by policy. He's doing everything according to the book that he's supposed to do. I agree with the sheriff's office. When you've got an animal that's coming to you, but not just coming to you, but lunges at you and bites you aggressively, you got to do something to get the animal off of you. He may not have had time to reach for his ECW or his taser. That may have helped, could have helped. But the dog was lunging at him and bit him, so he had to take that type of action. And I concur with that decision based on what I'm looking at, that he had to have a way to get the dog off of him. If the sheriff's office felt that he should have used a taser, the question becomes, well, can I get to it in time before the dog does some serious damage to me? Because the taser is on your weak side. Your gun is on your strong side. So he used what was necessary to stop that threat.
And Ken, from Ms. Phillips' perspective, she says she was the one who called 911. She's the person who needed help. And you can hear in the 911 call, she tells dispatch that she does have a gun with her, that she has her daughter, and she does have her dog. She lets them know about that. When the officer arrived on scene, he said at the time he wasn't exactly sure who was the aggressor and what was happening. Can you kind of maybe talk from that perspective when the officer first gets on the scene and tries to assess the situation?
Yeah, so that's why when a person is calling in, particularly on a call like this, the dispatcher is going to try to get as much information from the person who's calling as possible. You notice on the call, the dispatcher is asking for a description. Asked when Ms. Phillips told her that she had a gun, they asked, "Where do you have the gun?" She specifically said, "It's in my left pocket." That information is transferred to the officer before they arrive on the scene or as they're arriving at the scene, so he can take every necessary precaution. And when he gets there, he has to try to decipher in seconds what's really going on. So to do that, he's got to, if there's more than one person involved, he's got to separate the individuals. He had backup there because of the nature of the call. It was an assault and a person with a weapon, so he shouldn't go to that type of call by himself. And as we saw in the video, there was another officer there assisting him. So he has to assess what's actually going on. Yes, I understand Ms. Phillips called the police. However, she didn't sick the dog on him. The dog came onto the officer aggressively and bit him, so things changed. You can call the police, but you can also be at fault on something or responsible for something if it goes bad. That's not to say that they're going to charge her with anything, because they're not going to charge her with anything. But when the animal left her control, her custody and control, that's when it went sour. And the fact that, she says who she was didn't matter at the time, because now you got an injured officer who could suffer more injuries or more damage if nothing is done. And he did what he had to do in this situation.
And watching this video, would it be normal? So she does mention that she would like to tie up her dog. She's trying to get the dog there to sit. The officer starts approaching her there. And then that's when the dog starts. Would that be normal that he would start making that approach, or would you kind of wait to see what happens, if that makes sense? Well,
if she in fact asked if she can tie the dog up, he could have exercised some patience to allow her to do that. If in fact he understood that's what was going on, but he may have assumed that she had the dog under control since he was on a 6 to 8 foot leash. He may have assumed that she had the dog under control and was not expecting the dog to lunge. He was, according to the body-worn camera, it did appear that he was taking steps towards her. Obviously, the dog felt that to be a threat or an intimidation to Ms. Phillips, and the dog responded. The dog acted as dogs do when they're protecting their owners, or what have you. The fact that he wanted to try to rectify the situation as soon as possible, and that didn't happen because of the dog incident, does not unjustifiably says that he acted improperly, or it doesn't say that he acted improperly. He knew she had a gun. And here's the thing with guns and people with guns, when they're interacting with law enforcement, every ounce of attention goes to where that gun is. So he's constantly watching her hands. He's constantly watching where the gun is. He had a reason for him to say, "Don't you get that gun? Don't you touch that gun?" Obviously, her hand may have gotten close to that pocket, because it could be a matter of seconds where she can slip her hand into her pocket and pull the gun out and then become a bigger threat to the officer. So he's watching all those things simultaneously, her hands, her actions, where the gun is, and the dog was a secondary concern because he obviously felt that she had the dog under control, when in fact she did not, by virtue of him lunging at the officer and taking a bite.
And so we did see a picture there of the officer's injuries that they took at the scene. Even during the review board, they mentioned that there was no picture taken underneath his pants, and they said that there was no visible injury at the time when it came to that dog bite. And the Officer Jones, he did say to the review board when they were speaking with him that, hindsight is 20/20, but he probably would have done things differently instead of getting to this point and maybe allowing her to tie the dog up, maybe to one of the patrol cars or something like that. Of course, Ken, we all, have regrets, or maybe we think things over and think, well, maybe we should have done this differently. But just once again, from your perspective, hearing the officer say that maybe he should have allowed the dog to be tied up.
Yeah, if in fact he made that statement, then he possibly could have, well, not possibly, he could have exercised a little patience to allow her, since he had the child out of the situation, away from the two of them, the dog and Ms. Phillips, he possibly could have allowed her and exercised some patience to tie the dog up. Now, Ms. Phillips may have known that the dog would have a propensity, if the dog felt that she was being attacked or intimidated by someone, she may have known that the dog would have the propensity to lunge at the officer or to protect her. If that was the case, she could have said something that he will attack if he feels that you're trying to hurt me or whatever on that end. And on the other end, the officer possibly could have exercised some patience and allowed her to tie the dog up and get completely out of the situation. And as she said, had that been done, we would not be having this discussion today.
And she does say, Ms. Phillips, that Milo there is her military service dog. He does come from a long line of protection dogs, and she's had him for a while, for more than 10 years now. And so he is designed there to protect her in different situations. Ms. Phillips, once again, she is asking for the full body camera video to be released. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says that they are working on getting that video to us, but there's currently a backlog. We don't have a date yet on when we're going to get the full video, not just the partial video that's been released, but as soon as we get that video, we will bring it to you. Now, Ms. Phillips, she tells me that she does have plans to sue the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office over this. I'm going to have another story posted on our website just with her viewpoint of what happened here. And also, we're going to hear more as well in that story from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Review Board, just about why they deemed that this was justifiable and why they cleared Officer Jones of any wrongdoing in this situation. Before we wrap things up, Ken, is there anything else that you would like to add?
Yeah, I think for the sake of transparency that this portion of the video, body-worn camera, was released to the public, to Ms. Phillips as well. I look forward to seeing the full scope of the body-worn camera to see if everything corroborates with everything that's being said. The Sheriff's Office Response to Resistance Board has a duty and an obligation to the public as well as to the department to make sure that these things are thoroughly investigated, and to make sure that officers did follow protocol, policy, and procedure as well as their general orders before they execute this type of force being given against an individual. So obviously they have the full body-worn camera incident. We don't at this particular time. For them to make a decision, this is what, the fifth month since this has happened.
Right.
They've obviously reviewed the total and full body cam video and made their conclusions based on that. So we'll have to wait and see. Ms. Phillips does have the right to sue if she feels that things were unjustifiably done or whatever. But typically, that doesn't mean that they can't make mistakes. But typically, if this review board has viewed the entire body-worn camera footage video and they're releasing just a portion of it for transparency's sake, there are reasons why they made their decision that this was justifiable. And one last note, even though the photograph of the dog bite on the officer looks minor, looks like it pierced the pants just a little bit, and people may discount that as, oh, that's just a small bite. But you can't wait till the dog devours you before you take action. So on that first bite, when the dog is attacking you, he's not going to just stop attacking you because you're saying ouch or get back. You have to stop the threat, and we have to keep that in mind.
All right, Ken Jefferson, our crime and safety analyst, thank you so much for joining me today to take a look at this video. As I mentioned, we're going to have a full story on our website from Ms. Phillips' perspective on the situation after she watched this body camera video, this partial body cam video, and what she's been going through, and also some of the things that she disputes from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. I'm also going to have their side of the story as well, from the officer's point of view and why they decided to clear him of any wrongdoing. Remember, if you have a problem you just can't solve, you can always email me at askanthony@firstcoastnews.com.